Alright. Hey everyone, welcome back to the second episode of the Lights Out podcast. My name is Claudia and
my name is Angel.
we are your co-hosts for this lovely podcast where we talk a little bit about life, eat food, talk about our entrepreneurial experiences, day-to-day life stuff, and yeah, so this is all new to us. So thank you to everyone that has gone ahead and watched our first episode, subscribed to the YouTube channel, and has been supporting us just throughout this entire journey. Today we came to yet another park. I just love to be outside, and anytime we can be outside, I'd rather just shoot outside in the wilderness and just kind of be like in this beautiful weather and enjoy it and everything. So Angel?
Yes.
How you been?
I'm okay. My shoulder still hurts.
Yeah, your shoulder hurts. Your shoulder hurts, my back hurts. We are not going to the gym right now. So it's all right though. I will say that like usually before when we used to miss out on the gym, I used to freak out. I used to be like, oh, I really want to go to the gym, or I miss the gym so much. It's not that I don't miss it, but like we said, we want to keep working out for the rest of our lives. We want to make sure we take care of ourselves. So that goes for everybody listening to us right now, is to, just take a rest, take a break. We're young. We got to take care of our bodies. It's the only one we have.
Mm-hmm.
So in today's episode, we are going to be discussing one of my favorite topics. And I'm really excited to have you co-hosting with me because you're a guy and we get to see your perspective and like just kind of what you went through and how you dealt with it and everything, because I feel like
What are we talking about?
it's something that we don't talk enough about. So in today's episode, we are going to be discussing puberty and just that life stage.
What?
Yes.
You being serious?
Yes.
Oh.
So why I chose to discuss this for this episode is because everybody goes through it differently, and it's such an awkward stage in life. And like when we look back, we're like, oh man, I was awkward, I was skinny, I was chunky, nobody talked to me, or I was popular, or I wasn't, or because there's people that we know that were popular in high school and now they're just working at the local mini mart basically. No offense to anybody if that makes you happy. So we're gonna start about age like 10 to like 15, 16, around there, and just gonna talk a little bit about like how that was for you, because we're considered older now. We're like adults, we're in our mid-20s, and there's this new generation on social media that's coming up, and everything they see on social media, something we didn't have to deal with, is all these perfect lives, perfect bodies, perfect lifestyles, perfect relationships, perfect everything. And it's not real, like what about the kid that's still being bullied and pushed into lockers and is afraid to go home because shit's going on at home, and the kid that gets pregnant young, or like all this stuff that actually happened is reality. That's why I used to like that show Teen Mom on MTV. Remember that show? Like even though it was like a little bit crazy because people would be like yelling and this and that, that was real. These girls were real, just normal average girls. They got pregnant young and they were just showing like how they went through. That was realistic, They don't make shows like that anymore. Now it's these perfect live shows and stuff. So that's why I wanted to talk about this and just kind of remember when we were pimple-faced and nobody liked us.
It's
And
horrible.
I think that we had kind of similar experiences, but definitely different because our family situations were different. So do you want to start? Remember the good old days?
I wish I knew that's what we're going to talk about so I can get a head head start.
Okay.
I don't know. Here, I'll let you go first. That
I'll
way I can think
brief you
about it.
next time. My bad, guys. I didn't brief him on the topic. I just kind of.
I'm co-hosting this. I feel like I'm the one being interviewed.
You're like the guinea pig, the experiment.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Let's see what
So,
we got.
when I was in middle school, I moved states, so that was not fun. You know, I moved states not because I wanted to or anything like that. I had to move states to Las Vegas, obviously, from here, and I had to start all over. So all my friends that I had from elementary, you know, I lost contact with them, and I had to start over. I went to a school called Johnson Middle School in North Las Vegas. Shout out Bulldogs. And I did 7th and 8th grade there, and you know, I don't want to get too into like personal home situation, but it wasn't the best at the time for a couple of years. I'll just leave it at that. You know, it's one of those things that I didn't want to go home after school. I used to walk from where I went to middle school all the way to home, which was like a good 3 miles every day in like 100 and something degree weather. It was horrible. I hated it, but I would like take long because I didn't want to get home, because then I would just get home and there was no sports at that middle school at the time except for basketball or cheerleading, and I didn't do that, so I just didn't want to go home. And just go home and like watch Nickelodeon or random, but I was definitely an overweight middle school kid going into high school. I was like very overweight for being like a short girl and everything, so I was not a girl that like dated in middle school, or even like going into high school. I didn't like have my boyfriend from middle school or anything like that. And I had some friends in middle school, like some cool people that I would hang out with and everything. I was never a kid that got into drugs or sex or parties. Like I remember in middle school they'd hand out flyers that some random person was throwing some party somewhere. And one time I had my sister drive me to one over, I don't even know, on the east side of Las Vegas somewhere, and it was like in a garage in the back of a parking lot station. And we got off the car and there was lights and smoke. It was like probably her 13th or something birthday party, and they were really cool girls. They were on the basketball team, but I went and I got scared. I was like, this is not for me. This is not anything that I do. And I got back in the car and I left. I didn't even stay at all. And yeah, so, but I wanted to be a rebel so bad though. I was not a bad kid. I was straight A, 4.0, Dean's List, honor roll, everything you could think of, all through middle school. And I wanted to be a rebel so bad. So one story specifically, my mom went out of town to California, and I just, I wanted to be a bad kid so bad. I wanted to be like my siblings. I wanted to show her that I wasn't this perfect kid or whatever. And, you know, my other siblings had already done so much stuff that basically what I did didn't matter. There's nothing that I could do that was bad. You know, they had gotten pregnant, they had gotten to juvie, they had just done so many other things that like anything I could do was like whatever, right? Because I'm the baby of like my siblings. And I told my sister to pierce my lip, which is why I had this cute little hole.
That I always have to Photoshop.
Yeah, on my, you Photoshop it? You shouldn't Photoshop it. You should just
It's
let it
always
be.
there. I always have to. That's the first thing, in fact, that I always Photoshop.
Why?
Because I know it's there, so I already know I have to Photoshop that out.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm proud of it. So
You're proud of me?
I'm proud of it because she did that at home with a like needle and an apple or an ice. And she's like, all right. She put a little Sharpie dot on my lip and she put the needle through, and she got me the diamond thing at the swab meet, and I had a piercing. And then when my mom got home, I was like hiding from her, when the whole point was like I wanted to be brave and show her. So I think a lot of us go through that rebel stage. At least I did, that I wanted to be a rebel, but I was just not cut out to be a rebel at all. And I was bullied, but it was like that type of, it wasn't like bullying where I was specifically targeted. It was bullying like where I would pass by and people would say stuff, like other kids would say stuff. And it's interesting because here, well, not here, but in Las Vegas, Kids have to wear uniforms to their middle school. They have to wear polos and stuff for people that don't know. And we have to wear, like, kids would wear khaki pants or jeans and stuff. And somehow, if you didn't, like, have this one specific type of polo, or you didn't wear the clean Converse, or you didn't have X backpack or binder, you just weren't cool, or you weren't, you know. So I would take my sister's shoes. She had, like, the nicest Vans, Converse, everything. And I would take all her shoes because there's not really much you can do with that outfit. But kids would still, like, I don't know, like, you weren't cool enough, you weren't good enough to... And it's interesting because I always try to make friends with those kids that were by themselves because I knew what it was always like. So in PE class, in lunchtime, I was always trying to, like, introduce myself and be friends with these kids. And I'm not like that anymore. I don't know why, but when I was a kid, I was definitely very, like, hey, what's your name? Do you want to come eat lunch? Do you want to hang out? Sit by the block over here?
Right.
But... yeah, I was never, thankfully, I guess, directly bullied, and I never was online bullied, which was, like, a big thing, and I feel like it is still a big
I
thing.
think that's
But
big now, no?
it is big now, but
Only
like,
because everything is social
but like
media.
once MySpace started and Facebook, it became like a big thing. I'm gonna need these kids to stop screaming.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, guys. There's like a field trip and a lot of kids.
So that you don't bounce into the next one. That was like, how old were you? Like 10 to 12?
Yeah, that was like about 10 to 13, right before high school.
So,
And I would just say I had a lot of acne.
yeah, that's normal.
I mean, I just had a lot of acne, like, but there's some people that still suffer from acne when they're adults, you know, but most people just like go through it with their teen,
But, like,
whatever
I stopped,
age.
huh? I had it for
You
a good
suffered.
adult, so,
Yeah, you
like
suffered.
19, 20, my 20s still.
Yeah. And now your face is like, you don't really get them at all.
Very rarely. Yeah. Well, with me, I would say I was the bad child for sure. But you're saying like, oh, your siblings were bad. You wanted to be rebel, and anything you did wasn't really enough because they had done like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
I was the bad one. Period. I was a bad one. Period because I hated school. I had bad grades. I was always in-house. No, not always in in-house, you know. But I guess if you're talking about like the range from 10 to 12 years old, that's still elementary and middle school, right?
Yeah.
That's still elementary and middle school. So I came from a very Hispanic-oriented elementary school, as you know. So that switch from elementary to middle school was pretty big because I still had an opportunity, the chance to go to the middle school that's, you know, in my district, you could say, right? So I only went there for a half semester, and it was okay because I had all my childhood friends. I've always been super skinny. That to me, like you say, you had a very
Overweight,
childhood. You know, I was very skinny, so I do remember being bullied a lot. I do, like now that we're talking about this, I remember that I used to get bullied a lot because I was so skinny, very underweight, like skin and bones, you know. I remember like, they would pick me up, I see.
I feel like we should put just 2 pictures of ourselves because
but-
we're very different.
So yeah, well,
I have pictures of myself.
but I used to get bullied, right? But I totally forgot about that. Now that we're talking about this, I get, you know, these memories. And then I switched my middle schools, again, being a very Hispanic-oriented middle school to a very, very white middle school, you know, which then was when I moved to North Side. Because I went to the East, I was living in the East Side. And that was a huge switch for me. And I think that was very hard for me
Yeah.
because as bad as a child I used to be, it was very hard for me to adapt to the community or to how kids used to be, you know? Because back then, even now, right, I don't really care how I dress, you could say, but now I kind of, you know, like, well, I'm not gonna go out like this, or, you know,
Yeah.
I care, I mean, because I'm with you, I don't want people looking at me like, is she really dating him, you know,
Which
like
I don't
that,
care
or-
about, but
but now I think about it. I've never really been one to care about what people think on how I dress. So I remember that switch from going to Northtown. Now everybody cares what you're wearing, like you were saying, you know.
yeah.
So I remember going from wearing regular traditional pants, you know, to going to switch to skinny jeans.
Right.
So I told my mom, hey mom, I want to buy skinny. I want these skinny jeans. I want them like this, like that. And she's like, no, you're gonna look like a girl. Guys don't wear skinny jeans, like, you know, tight jeans.
Right.
You want to look like a girl or something. I'm like, no mom, I have to. You know, I'm like, I want. But I that's the thing. I never told my mom that I was being bullied because of X reason.
Right.
So which is why I thought I was very rebel, because I was trying to be somebody who I wasn't. But my mom never knew that I was being bullied, you know, physically and verbally, and, you know, both. So, so I went through a huge bully phase, 6th grade through 8th. I swear to you, 6th through 8th grade, and that's already 14, 15 years old, you know? So I could say with that, that was one. And also, that you said you didn't have any acne.
No, I
Oh, you
had a
did
lot of
have- you
acne,
had a
but
lot-
I'm saying it went away like
Oh.
after high school.
I had a lot of acne. It was horrible. Oh my God, it was so
When I
bad.
moved in with you, you had like a lot of proactive products. Did you use those?
Those weren't mine.
Oh,
Those were my brother's.
Oh.
He had a lot of acne. Mm-hmm.
really?
Yeah, but he left when he was also young, so I don't know how long it took for him to kind of. Yeah, that was not mine. That was none of mine. No, he was worse than me. But yeah, so mine kicked in probably when I was 13, 14 years old. Very bad, horrible. So I had a brace face. They called me brace face. Up to high school. The only thing that really did get bullied was because I had big lips. They
Right.
used to call me big lip all the time. And it's crazy how that term, you know, big lip, went from elementary school all the way to high school. Like nobody knew me from that period, you know? So the fact that they called me big lip, it was a huge deal for me, because it used to remind me how in elementary school, they used to call me big lip, big lip, big lip, you know? To me, it was like, that's, you know, it bothered me so much,
Right.
so much.
And isn't it crazy how now having big lips is the thing?
As in
There's
a-
all
yeah.
these filters, like even if it's more for women, right? Like you got bullied for that, but now people are literally lining up to get their lips injected because having big lips is now something that's in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
Yes.
that having acne, having brace face, and it doesn't help having braces underneath,
Right.
pushes your lips out, you know? So that was one. That transition from middle school to high school was pretty big, because I said to myself, I'm like, this is the year. I swear to God, in my head, I'm like, this is the year where I'm not gonna be bullied. I'm like, it's a whole new school. People from all over are gonna go, and from all over, I mean, you know, a middle school from here, they all go to Legacy.
Right.
So I said that was it. So I started doing sports. I started playing soccer. I started working out, you could say. My attitude was so different, was tough. You know, I wasn't that friendly-ish kid how I used to be back then, because I felt like they used to take advantage of me because of that, you know? So that made me change all my friends, unfortunately, and fortunately, you could say. Because I had friends in middle school.
Yeah.
I was that nerd kid, you know? So I had that little group of friends in middle school. And when I went into high school, all those friends looked at me as, and I'm guilty, I know, I admit it, you know? They would look at me as like, look, he's trying to be somebody who he's not. So he
Right.
has now all these soccer friends, even though they weren't my friends. But in their eyes, they thought, look, he's changed. He's a soccer player now, so he thinks he's tough and everything.
Right.
But the thing is, I got tired of being bullied. So I wanted to be somebody who people would like, you know? And you tell me, you're like, oh, wow. Before you even met me, you're like, he's cute, or I used to think you're cute,
Right.
this and that. You have a lot of girlfriends, when in reality, it's not like that. But I was somebody who was not me,
Right.
you know? So that was, I think that was a big change for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. Yeah, it's a big change, like who you were in middle school, elementary, and then who you tried to be or whatever in high school,
Yeah.
basically. I feel like I tried really hard to be one of those girls, and I don't know what you call it, but not popular. It wasn't about being popular, but there's those girls that like would always wear Hollister jeans. Like, I don't know if you know, but do you know the symbol for Hollister jeans on the butt? Like what it is? Well, when we go, I'll show you what it is, but like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people in the school wore Hollister jeans, Abercrombie, Aeropostale, you know, like that trend, right, in high school. And I had none of those clothes. Like, I really didn't have any of those clothes. My clothes were not bad, right, but they were just different. And sometimes my mom would go to the store and buy me a lot of clothes, but they were just stuff that I would never wear that looked really weird. Like, she had a thing for buying me shirts that already came stuck with a little vest. I don't know if you remember those. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Oh, so I had a lot of those, and I wanted to be emo. I had a lip piercing. I was overweight. I had acne. I had no idea who I was, who I wanted to be. I thought I knew who I was and who I wanted to be, but I didn't at all. And I wanted to fit in. So when we'd go shopping with my sisters and stuff, it was clothes that I don't even wear it now. Like, I don't even want to dress like that, you know? I don't want to dress like everybody else. I don't want to spend like $45 on one pair of jeans, you know? Like, I don't, but everybody dressed like that, and everybody had the same style and the hair and everything. As a girl who was overweight, me, and I had such low self-esteem, I will tell you that. I walked around looking tough, like nobody could mess with me type of person. Like, I didn't like, you know, guys touching me, hugging me, like all that stuff that kids do. Like, I was not into it at all. I never played those games. I was like, yeah, no, you're not gonna touch me, you're not gonna hug me, you're not gonna come up and slap my ass and we're friends. And no, I did none of that stuff at all, ever. I never went to not one party in high school, ever. Like, birthday party, nothing. I barely went to our team bondings for soccer, barely. Like, I just knew that I was so different.
Right.
Even if I desperately wanted to fit in, but even when I would try, no me salía. Like, it just wouldn't happen. I was so different. I always felt weird. I always felt like the odd one.
Yeah.
And in freshman year, and I think part of sophomore or junior, there was like time periods where I would eat lunch in the bathroom.
Oh, really?
I know you're like at all the like places you could possibly eat lunch, but there was just nowhere to sit by yourself because all the walls were taken.
Right.
And then the cafeteria, you know, people were sitting in groups and stuff. The stage was taken. There was kids that left during lunch and whatever. So there wasn't anywhere. So I would just take whatever I did have and I would go in the bathroom. And I would just sit there by myself for a long time. Like, there was, because also the few friends that I did have, they had different lunches as well. So
Right.
I also didn't have like any friends, but I think back now to like high school and like everything that has happened after high school, of course. And I'm like, yeah, when I used to like be stressed out about life and about high school and stuff, it's nothing compared to like how real life is. But I will say that one of my biggest things that like I would tell my nieces, my nephews, or just anybody that's like younger watching this, because like now we get surprised. We're like, whoa, look at that kid. It says class of 2024. It says class of 2022. We're like, holy F, like we are old. Like, remember when we were graduating, when we walked into the school and it said seniors, you know?
We're finally seniors.
We were finally seniors. So, and now I feel like society overall is making kids dumb. Like, they're just making kids dumb. They're making them think that what matters is money, cars, not even college. Forget college. It's not even college anymore. It's just like money, cars, being famous, having, again, like I said, like this perfect lifestyle, this perfect look, body, whatever. And there's not enough realness for them to look at or absorb or look up to, you
It's
know?
crazy how, looking back to our class, I admire how many smart kids we had in our class, you know? And even back then I thought, I'm like, wow, we need more doctors, we need more lawyers, we need more, like important stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought, like, wow, we made it. We have the technology, you know? We had smartphones, we have Instagram. That was even that, you know, that wasn't even a big deal until I graduated. I'm like, oh, that's it. What else is there too, you know, on the internet? And now there's TikTok. Kids are getting famous, Insta famous, TikTok famous,
Right.
YouTube famous. And all these kids are like, I don't know what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
I just want to have like 1,000 likes, 1,000 followers. I want everybody,
Exactly.
so all these little things that are not
Exactly.
important, that's not going to fix our world in the future. We
Yeah.
need doctors. We need,
People are really obsessed with likes, you know, and they're putting their value on likes. Like I think about myself. Like a girl that had really low self-esteem. Like, you know what low self-esteem is? Like, you think very little of yourself and you don't think you're pretty, and like, yeah, like I just hated like almost everything about myself. I hated my hair, my skin color. Just imagine somebody like me having like really low self-esteem, right? A girl, a guy, whatever, and then having to go on Instagram and you post something, right? Because first you get the courage to post something, a picture of yourself, and then it gets no likes, you get bullied.
you're staring at the like
You're
button to see
staring
how
at
many.
the like button, you know? Like, that would have, like, I want to say that I wouldn't have cared in high school, right? That I was so into soccer and, like, other things. But, again, like, at that age when you don't have much to do, I can understand how that world just consumes you. So there was something I would tell, like, a younger generation, or if there's something that I would tell a younger me, would be to just be more involved in school stuff, I would say. Be more involved in school stuff in the sense of, like, I don't have any pictures of Sadie's, homecoming, senior sunrise, senior sunset, just events, you know, that school puts together that we're paying for, right? We're paying for with our taxes in the long run, or these teachers are taking the time being away from their own kids to show up for you, the ones that do care. And you're somewhere freaking getting high with somebody that doesn't even matter, or you're ditching school, or so it's not about being a straight A student or being like a perfect kid, but all these memories, there's nothing like that now in life, right? That we can go and like have these experiences, right? You go to a bar, I don't even know, right?
Right.
But you can't do that stuff again. That's it. That's why that time period is so special. And I think that you should enjoy it as much as possible because it goes by so fast. It goes by so fast. I still remember when I first toured Legacy and my last day of high school.
You toured Legacy?
I toured Legacy, yeah. You go to the freshman barbecue and the school is open. I was still a middle schooler, but I was gonna go in the summer, and they gave me a future Longhorn shirt that I had, and I just went through the high school and like looked at it and stuff, and underneath the blue tent they were doing like a barbecue.
Right.
But my mom actually took me because I told her it was important. And we lived super close to the school, so it wasn't that bad. But I would just say enjoy it, and to, as much as possible, much as I know it's hard, because even I did it, not get caught up in boyfriend, girlfriend, relationships, sex, any sort of drugs. Like, it's just, like, for example, we're a good example. You and I have never touched weed. We've never touched tobacco. We've never touched cigarettes. We've never touched any other type of drug, right? And ask me if I feel like I'm missing out on something. No. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, you know? Because that is not bringing me any joy, or like, on the other hand, it makes you disconnect, you know? And if you're going to disconnect, find a better, healthier way of disconnecting, like going outside, going on adventures, going on trips, finding good friends, something, right? Joining the gym. Like, I got my membership at the gym when I was 13, and it was one of the best decisions that changed my life forever. If I hadn't joined the gym, like, I don't know what type of girl I would be, lifestyle I would have, because it's a part of my daily life, you know? Being active and going outside and just being healthy and stuff. But I wanted to talk about just growing up and puberty, and kind of like what you went through, what I went through, because again, I wanted people that listen to this to see that it's not all about what you post on social media, and it's not just about putting perfection out there, and it's not about becoming an overnight millionaire and YouTuber. And if you want to go to school to be a veterinarian, that's great. Like, don't let the world convince you that your dreams are not big enough, or that they're not cool enough, or just because you're not driving a Lamborghini, you're not making it, right?
Right.
Because we can get so obsessed with wanting to be somebody else. Like, look, you just said it. You were in high school and you wanted to be somebody else. You were trying to be somebody else, right? Okay, fine. Me too. I was too. I was trying to fit in.
And we paid the consequences.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of friends. A lot of potential actual friends that we
Real
could have
friends,
grown up
yeah.
together, you know?
Real friends. And then we get out of high school, and society, like through Instagram, people around us, our family, whatever, are pushing us to also try and be somebody else.
Exactly.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And then guess what? We're doing it again. And then we get to our 30s, let's say, and we're like, oh, wait, this is who I actually want to be.
Right.
Right? So let's not wait until our 30s that are right around the corner to figure out what really matters to us, what we really want to be doing, who we really want to be. And if you want to be a nerd and get your master's, and don't, like, that's a nerd. Basically, if you go for your master's, you're a nerd. But don't let people make you feel bad for wanting to be a nerd. You know, if you want to get your master's in psychology and education and this, that's your dream. Let that be your dream. Just because you're not TikTok famous or whatever, getting some award, you know, that might not be your journey, you know? But we're trying so hard. Now, there's a difference between, like, I try hard on social media, right?
Right.
Honestly, I do, but because I like it. Does that make sense? That's different. Like, I truly do like it. Like, I love to create content. It's the way as an adult that I found to be creative and do art, right? Through different things,
Through
makeup, photo
modeling,
shoots,
through-
modeling, right? When I was younger, I used to do art different ways.
Right.
So that's basically just my little advice, because I do see specifically like my nieces and nephews, and they're getting to that age, or they're already at that age, and everybody is free to choose whatever they want to do. But sometimes I just worry that they're not truly enjoying these years, and before they know it, they're going to be our age, you know, and they're going to look back and be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have been doing that, you know? And certain decisions are for a lifetime, depending, you know? Stuff we did, it's not a big deal. But other kids...
But other kids, they messed up and they're paying the consequences till now. For example, not that having a kid is a bad thing, but a lot of people had kids with girls who they don't even know, you know? And look, there's a kid out there and they don't even see their kid because they don't even know the girl, you know?
Yeah.
And forget that, something that we can, I would tell kids nowadays would be, find good friends that you're going to grow, you know, it could be grow old together, because we don't see that nowadays. But we do see older generations that are like, oh yeah, we know since we were childhood friends, you know? And that's so cool. Having to grow with a friend who you know your entire life, that you can call him a friend, you know?
Your actual friend.
An actual friend. We don't have that.
We don't have
I
that.
wish that I had actual friends from, it doesn't matter even from high school, you know? But elementary, middle, high school, we don't have that. None of that. And that's something that I would tell people to be careful with and actually stick to that, you know? Have fun. I wouldn't even say get close to school and do more school activities. I just say have more activities with your friends.
Right.
Be more close to them, you know? Because, yeah, we're living the life alone now. You could say that, yeah, there are friends, but I'd like to have social media be disconnected for one whole week. Everybody worldwide. And then us realize who's really there.
Right.
You know? Because if we don't, yeah, everybody could be liking your Instagram post, but that's nothing.
Exactly.
That's not a friend.
Right. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. The other day on social media, I put that I was having like a hard mental time, right? Emotional time, I guess. And I just put that out there, not because I wanted people to know, but because I wanted other people that might feel like that to see that I feel it too, right? Because I always post that I'm at the gym, that I wake up early, that I'm doing this and that. So I wanted to, and people always see that, so they start to believe, oh, that's who she is only, right? So I wanted people to see, like, no, like, Claudia has days where she doesn't work out, where she doesn't get up, where she feels really down, or like everybody says it, like we all go through the same stuff, right? But when you are vulnerable and you put it out there, it's like, oh, look, she's over there, blah, 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 right? So I put that up and I got like a whole bunch of like, you got this and we're here for you and like all these messages, right? Which is really nice. Like you took the time to put a comment. Ask me if I got one text message from people that actually have my number and were like, hey, I saw your post. Are you okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not one, right? And it's not kind of like a to throw it in anybody's face or anything, but it's just to kind of, again, bring you back to reality. Like we're disconnected from each other so much because of social media, because of how it's like, well, you're 26, I'm 25, you have a nice car, how can I get there?
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, oh, wow, he got there, let me go and be his friend. Like I told you, you want to reach out to people to help you, right? And what was your response? I'll tell you, but you have to pay for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's no like genuine, like, oh, let me just help you. And again, it does exist out there, but it's just, it feels like it's becoming less and less and less. So.
Yeah. And also, well, obviously we graduated, we finished our school and everything, but I don't know everybody's story, right? Mm-hmm. But we have a perfect example that we lost a lot of friends along the way, along these years, and
that actually passed away.
Passed away, like not lost in the journey, you know. But I mean, actually passed away. Take care of your friends, like all these people that passed away could have been avoided. I still believe it could have been avoided. The people who you hang out with determines who you will be. As good as you are, as bad as you are, you know. All these decision makings could have ended very differently, I think.
Yeah.
You know? And maybe kids still, I'm sure, you know, not that I want it to happen, but I'm sure kids are still continuing to lose their life, you know, X year. Your nephew's graduation, maybe there's people dying, you know? That I feel like it's something we can avoid. And that's what I'm saying. The more connections we have, probably you being there for them probably change what they're doing in X amount of, you know. A lot of people say like, well, it's meant to me. It's meant to be. It was his timing, you know, it was his time. But I still believe like all these sad stories, how they lost their life, could have been avoided. Like all these murders, you know. Not my class, but your class. I think that there was this kid who got robbed over $10, I believe. So what was he doing? If he had a friend that probably could convince him to stop doing what he was doing, that wouldn't have happened, you know?
Yeah.
Just an example.
Yeah.
Same thing with people who we know that were in the military. They went to the military because what? They felt lost. They felt like they didn't have a purpose in life.
Not always. Like, yes, but also they could have just honestly wanted to go and serve their country. You don't know.
Okay, well,
They could have, right? There's two sides to everything. And I think that you're right. I think that some things we could avoid situations. We could definitely avoid putting ourselves in situations. But as on the other side, I also do believe, because you can't, the thing is that you can't, I feel like you can't believe one and also believe the other.
Right.
Either you believe that God is in control and he knows when it's your time, right? And unfortunately, on the other side of that, that means that we lose somebody we love. We lose a kid, we lose a family member, whatever. Or you believe, oh, if I had gotten there, if they hadn't taken the car, if that person had stopped, if they weren't drinking, right? So the problem is that in our faith, I feel like, I don't know if both can exist. That's a good question, you know? That'd be like a good question for our pastors. Like, can both exist? Can you believe God is in control and he decides everything?
Right.
But can you also believe some things can be changed? Because again, we're not supposed to be able to really do much. Everything is him working through us, right?
Right.
So I get what you're saying, because the people that passed away from my class have been quite a few, and it's very sad because I'm 25 and they died like 18, 21.
Yeah. Very,
right
very,
after high
very young.
school, like very, very young and very terrible scenarios, truly like a
So,
final destination
yeah.
type of thing.
Exactly. So all I'm saying is, kind of
But definitely
be
look out for
there.
your friends.
Look out for your
Yeah,
friends.
definitely
That's
look
what I'm
out for your
saying. Look out for
friends.
your friends.
And you might think that it's corny or cheesy, but honestly, a message, a hug, hey, how are you doing, genuinely goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can't expect anything to change moving forward or for the generations that are coming after us if we don't start to set an example and we don't talk to them, because what do we say about our parents? We're like, oh, we're going to be different than them and they messed up the world. And what do they say about their parents? Oh, they had the war, they had this, Everybody does as best as possible, but then it becomes your responsibility to try and help, And I just see way too many young girls trying to be something on social media that they just have no business trying to be, And it worries me. It worries me a lot because
That's our future.
it's our future.
It's our future, and
They're going to be making, like our parents say about us, they're going to be the ones making decisions about us when we get old. And they're going to be, what are they going to be, saying about us? What are they going to be choosing for us?
Especially because that's not how we were raised.
Yeah.
So if you're doing something so different, you're telling your parents, you're making them look bad, especially because they've worked their ass off to raise you a certain way, and then you pay them like that. So you are a reflection of who and how you were raised. And if you're going to do something stupid, it doesn't matter what it is, but if you make something stupid like that, a decision, what does that look like? It looks bad. It just, you know what I mean? So that's why I want to be the best version of my parents. I want to be the best version for my kids. I want to be the best version for anybody whoever says my name, whoever says our name, their first reaction for us about me, they're like, oh yeah, he's smart. He's smart. He's a hard worker. He's such a kind dude, or it doesn't matter. Or we're a couple, right? They're an amazing representation of blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So if you are doing something that you're proud of, that your parents would be proud of, by all means. But you have to know yourself. Am I doing good? Am I giving the best? Am I representing my parents, what they told me or how I was raised?
Right.
I just feel like you have to be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Right. Okay.
Well, I think that I'm glad we had this conversation. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you what we were talking about beforehand. I'll make sure and pass you the notes.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Changing, not just going back forward. When we were like 10, 12 years old.
Right.
And how was it? Right? You're saying how it was. I remember when I was maybe mostly in middle school. Now it's all text messages. Now it's all sending a DM. It's like, oh, she or he hit my DMs, But it's not like how back in the day we would write notes.
Right.
And we would pass it, or we would.
And we just wait.
We would go to the pencil sharpener and give it to him, And I remember, not to brag, but I would get a lot. And I sent some, but not, not as many. But I remember, and I would open it, and I would get my palms were starting to sweat. My upper lip started to sweat because I was just so nervous, And then they would say, it's like, I like you. Do you like me back? Circle one or some shit like that, So now I doubt that even in middle school, because all kids now
have phones. Yeah, I know.
So it's not, you know what I'm saying? So now.
And then when you'd go home, you had to actually wait till the next day to see that person in that one period.
Yep. Until tomorrow or something. You wouldn't know until, the next day.
And it's called the courtship process, right? Like courting process, whatever. Would take much longer than now, because you'd only see that person for PE class or for lunch, right? And then if neither of you even talk to each other, you'd be like, oh, he didn't talk to me today. I have to wait until next day or whatever. And it'd take like weeks finally until you're finally like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to be my boyfriend? Circle yes, no. I'm going to be honest. I got a few, not that many, but the few that I did get, I said no.
Oh, you did?
I always said no.
That's so
And I
funny.
felt so bad because I know it probably took like a lot of guts, but yeah, I was always that girl. I always said no.
But and I don't know if I told you this before, right? But I thought I was ugly. I thought I was, I was always trying so hard to be like the kids around me.
Right.
And this was mostly when I moved to the north side of town, not in the east side. In the east side, nobody liked my ass. But in middle school, when I went to cram, I had a buddy of mine. His name was Josue, I think. And he came up to me. He's like, Luis, it's like everybody likes you. What are you doing that all the girls like you, you know? And I was like, all the girls like me? What the fuck? Like, how come they don't tell me? Who was it? Who is it? You know, that I don't know. So for him to tell me that, I was like, you think that you're not good enough, even when you're a kid. But somebody else is looking at you. And they think like, oh my God, Luis is the best, an example, you know? But you still think that you're nothing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what does that say? It's like, you're never good enough. Doesn't matter how good looking you feel. It's not going to be good enough. Doesn't matter how rich you are. It's
not that you're never good enough. You're just not going to feel good enough.
No. Well, for yourself, you to yourself is not good enough. But you will be enough. We think you're enough.
Right.
You know? But to me, I was like, no, I was still trying to be liked by somebody else or more. But it wasn't enough for me. I didn't see it. I was blind. You know? But that was hard. That's insane. Because I remember my mom caught me with a paper in my pocket and I forgot to take it out. And I was like, shit, my mom found a note. She knows I have a girlfriend or, you know?
Yeah.
So I was,
oh my God, you just brought back memories. One time my dad found a note that I had written to a boy. That was the end
See,
of
that's
me.
what I'm saying.
Oh
You don't
my
think about
God.
these stuff.
Yeah.
You brought me all these memories talking about puberty and shit.
You can't cuss on our podcast.
Okay, I'll beep it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, good talk. All right then.
Times.
Well,
Just
thank you,
enjoy.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I would say before we head out, I would say just enjoy your
Your youth.
your youth. Yeah, just enjoy your youth, because even though we're still young now, we're adults, so our type of fun and our type of
You have a lot
everything.
of time. You have a lot of time, so just enjoy your youth, honestly. Yeah. And like you were saying, I know now we can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your youth, hang out, and I think I did enjoy it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because until I was 18, I still went out to go play soccer with my friends, and that's something I like to do. Mm-hmm. You know, like you were saying, a lot of kids go party and stuff like that. I did what I like to do. Nobody told me I have to go. Mm-hmm. I would go hit up Jimmy, Martin, all my friends who will kick it, you know, and I still did whenever I wanted to. Mm-hmm. But not everybody could say the same thing. They were all trying to drink, they were all trying to party, and now what? They're still doing it. But I don't know if that's fun, to be honest. I don't know. You know, I'd like to party here and there. I'd like to drink. And I even told you I want to try to smoke weed to see what the hype is all about.
Right.
But am I missing it? No, because, you know, I guess you don't miss something you've never tried, I guess. So just enjoy your youth 100%, because you'll have enough time after that.
Yeah, like to figure it out.
We're 26, 25, and we're still young. And I still feel like we have a lot ahead of us, you know? So just your youth. Enjoy your youth, your teen years.
Yeah.
You got it?
Got it, guys. Make sure you guys take notes on that and pass that on to anyone younger around you, your siblings, nieces, nephews, whatever. And if you feel like you're not in the right headspace or direction right now, just adjust. That's something huge that I've learned. I thought for some reason if I was on this path, I only had to stay on that path. Like, I'm going to college, like, this is what I picked, this is it. Mm-hmm. This is it, right?
Yeah.
But I read this quote a while back that said, at any moment in your life, you have the ability to pivot wherever you want. And I have to constantly remind myself, I'm like, hey, I'm here right now, right? Here in this state, in this job, whatever. But that's not the end, right? Tomorrow's going to be a new day, a new sunrise. If you make it to it, just start with one step, just one step somewhere else. So thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. Second episode of the Lights Out podcast. We're starting easy, we're starting slow. We're going to ease you guys into our topics. Make sure that you guys leave us a comment if you guys are enjoying these talks, if you guys relate to anything, if you guys have any stories of your puberty or anything that you want to put down below and you feel comfortable sharing it. Follow us on our Instagrams. I have recently started uploading a lot of TikTok, so I'd appreciate if you guys went to go check out my TikTok, and I'll also put that down below. What else?
We'll catch you on the next one.